From this site, islamtomorrow.com, Dr. TVN Prasad is Professor of Anatomy, Professor of Pediatrics and Child Health, and Professor of Obstetrics, Gynecology and Reproductive Science at the University of Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. There, he was the chairman of the Department of Anatomy for 16 years. He is well known in his field. Oh, you know something? I wonder if I didn't even read this yet. Well, continue. Quote, the way it was explained to me is that Muhammad was a very ordinary man. Oh, you know, I did respond to this. I did. I'll see if I can go down and find it where I did respond to it. Yeah. So what you're saying is that it really should say he created mankind from a clean leech-like substance. That's what I got from reading it before. And Surah 96 shouldn't be called the clot, but should be called the clinging leech-like substance. It said, if so, then all the hadiths I posted above and read to you in the last video are wrong. In other words, a baby is attached to the uterine wall not for 9 months like a leech, but is attached to the uterine wall for only 40 days? Really? Noble Quran 93, 12 through 14. We created man from an extract of clay. Then we made him a drop in a place of settlement, firmly fixed. Then we made the drop into an alaka. Then I noticed that leech, suspended thing, and blood clot are added. Then we made the alak into a madqa, chewed-like substance. Where does it say chewed-like substance? Literally, the Arabic word alaka has 3 meanings. Leech, suspended thing, blood clot. And it's only right when it says leech and suspended thing, right? By the way, when did it only mean those two things, and when did it no longer mean the clot or the blood clot? Was it before or after we discovered that embryos are never blood clots? Before or after? 1. In comparing a leech to the embryo of the alaka stage, we find similar between the two. The developing human, page 8. False. Not even for a second, let alone for 40 days, is an embryo ever a leech or a blood clot. It's not even dividing cells. Well, it's dividing cells, but it's not even a ball of dividing cells. So false and a lie. Also, the embryo as this stage obtains nourishment from the blood of the mother, similar to the leech which feeds on the blood of others. Human development embryo fetus by then becomes unattached. I see. And it's only a leech for 40 days. Really? Remember, the hadith says 40 days that a blood clot is supposedly a leech. Yeah? According to your, yeah, it's 40 days. Yeah. Are you saying that after 40 days, the embryo, fetus by then, becomes unattached from the uterine wall? Think, O slave of the best deceivers. Think. 2. The second meaning of the word alaka is suspended thing. In the suspension of the embryo during the alaka stage, blood clot stage, which is 40 days long according to the hadith, in the womb of the mother, very appropriately fits this description. False. For it's suspended till the day it's born, not for 40 days, when it's really supposed to be a clot like the Quran and hadith have it as. 3. The third meaning of the word alaka is blood clot. No! No! We find that the external appearance of the embryo and the sacs during the alaka stage is similar to that of a blood clot. False and a lie. For one thing, where in the Quran or all those hadiths posted above does it say appear or like a blood clot or look like a blood clot? You know, where does it even say it looks like even a leech? What comes to your mind when you think Quote, then it becomes a clot of blood. Do you see, then it becomes like a clot of blood? No. And even if it did, well, you think that is scientific? Think, O slave of the best of deceivers. Think. This is due to the presence of relatively large amounts of blood present in the embryo during this stage. Notice that in the Hadith it's blood for 40 days. Then later it's a blood clot. And for 40 days, 40 friggin' days, it's not in large amounts of blood or blood clot even for a second. It's first a ball of dividing cells without blood. And it's actually less than 40 days, more like 40 hours. Then it embeds, and that is when it begins to leach out, if you will. But again, when did the word alak become leach? Was it before or after we discovered that embryos are never blood clots? Think, O slave of the best deceivers. Think. Also during this stage, the blood in the embryo does not circulate until the end of the 3rd week. But the blood isn't dead blood before that. It's not blood clot. And a fetus is not blood, being that the heart hasn't started beating until nearly a month later either. So the embryo at this stage is like a clot of blood. False! For an embryo is not dead blood, and it's more than just blood. Where does it say like a clot of blood? Anywhere in the Hadith and the Quran. By examining a diagram of the primitive cardiovascular system in an embryo during the alaka stage, yes, we would notice the external appearance of the embryo and its sacs is similar to that of a blood clot. Similar to a blood clot. Similar to a blood clot. Where in the Quran and Hadith, any of those Hadiths I posted above, I found more, when talking about 40 days, is the word similar then described, where's the word similar when describing embryos being blood clots? Where? Due to the presence of relatively large amounts of blood present in the embryo developing human, page 65, large amounts of blood? When are large amounts of blood ever in an embryo? When? See, they put that large amounts of blood because for 40 days it's nothing but blood. So, according to the Hadith. Large amounts of blood. When's it ever large amounts of blood in an embryo? Ever? When? So the 3 meanings of the word alaka correspond accurately to the description of the embryo of the alaka stage. False. False. For again, where in those hadiths presented above, in the Quran, does it say like a blood clot? Never. It doesn't even say. The next stage mentioned in the verse is the magda, the madga stage. The Arabic word magda means chud-like substance, which Mo probably thought a miscarriage looked like. So it seems that it would look like a chewed food after that. After all, I don't see how this means the Quran is true. If you were to take a piece of gum and chew it in his mouth and then compare it with the embryo at the madga stage, we would conclude that they would be almost identical because of the somites at the back of the embryo that somewhat resemble teeth marks in the chewed substance. Oh, I agree. How's that? I agree. If an embryo came out as a miscarriage, it probably would look like chewed food. Probably look like a lot of things. But where is an embryo even looking like a blood clot? It doesn't even look like a blood clot. And it certainly never is a blood clot. But if it dies and the blood around it was dead, then I can imagine that in the miscarriage it would come out looking like chewed food with blood clots around about it. But it never is a blood clot, and it never even looks like a blood clot. But Mo thought so. Thus the hadiths above and surah are called the clot. So Mo blew it. Mo blew it big time. By the way, If you go to suna.com and type clot into the web browser, it becomes chewed food, only shows up once. Like in the presence of their husbands who are unbelievers, only appears once. Yet you will believe it says it becomes chewed food over, quote, in the presence of their husbands who were unbelievers. True? Well, how come the double standard? I think I might have to end it here. Isn't it time to end it? I can still go on. Yeah, I think I'll end it here.